Highway.
First department is highway. Tony?
All right, how's everybody doing?
Good.
All right, look for authorization to fill 4 vacant budgeted positions of motor equipment operator 1 in the highway department at the 2021 grade 12 step 1 salary of $37,602. These positions are vacant due to resignations and are needed to adequately staff the department.
Move it, Hoatling.
I have a question first, if you don't mind. Tony, do we have many positions that we already approved that are still open?
Yes, we do,
So why are we approving more?
because these are recent. I'm still 8 short coming into winter.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many do we have that are not filled at this point?
8, I believe it's 8 motor ones. Is that correct, Michael? That sound right to you? That's what
Yes,
I have
sir.
on my board here. Is 8. Yeah,
You're
8 motor
correct.
ones, 1 mechanic, and 8 motor ones and 1 mechanic.
So we got 8 open yet, and you still feel you need 4 more? That's what I'm asking.
That is correct.
Okay.
Because we're at a point right now where even plugging in the 4 solid waste drivers that are volunteered to do it, I've still got 3 trucks, at least 3 trucks right now with no wingmen in them.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Tony, do you need wingmen for the plow trucks?
We do right now because that's the union contract. And without, in order to make that transition, that's all stuff that I believe would need to be approved through the union, and additional training would be required as well to make that transition.
And if you did not need wingmen, how many of these 12 positions would you actually have to fill?
Well, we have 23 plow trucks, so that's 46 drivers and helpers. So if we were to cut that in half, the problem you have with that is most places that run just a single driver do shift work, which we do not do. So our guys could potentially be doing 24, 36 hours with just a driver, which is not really safe. Right now, we can switch back and forth because the driver and the wingman are both required to have a CDL. So if you were to go to a 1-man plow truck, your best bet would be to go to shift work. And if you go to shift work, you're back to the same amount of people anyways.
So we're still dealing with the step salary right now, is that correct?
Still dealing with the step salary. This is, and I will say this is not isolated to Columbia County. I've been in an email chain with the rest of the New York State County Highway Superintendents. They're all going through the same issues. A lot of them have 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 openings.
Mhm.
A range of salaries. Some of them start quite lower than us. Some of them start quite higher than us. They're all having the same problem.
So when will the step salary, Matt, stuff kind of go away? We've been working on that.
Well, that's got to go. It has to be, it's part of the contract.
Okay.
So if we negotiate a new contract and it's taken out, then once the contract is ratified.
Okay. All right.
So Tony, are you suggesting, given that everybody across the state is having this problem and some pay more and some pay less, that paying more money is not going to solve the problem for us?
It's really hard to say. Right now, we are competing with surrounding towns, which pay quite a bit more than us. And I have lost over the last year, I believe 5 or 6 to different town highway departments. So eliminating the step salary, I think just based on that would help. Including my mechanics position. I've had a mechanics opening since I believe June or July. I haven't gotten a single application for it.
Yeah.
Part of that is the step salary. So it's
Are
hard to tell.
you getting applications for the driver jobs, the MEO ones?
No, I got one. I interviewed a guy yesterday. He's going to be going for the drug test, but that's the only application I've gotten for the driving jobs in the last 2 months, I think.
Holy smokes.
But I think that goes just in general around the whole county for help. Even
Yeah.
businesses are going, okay, thank you. You answered my question.
Thank you, Tony.
You're welcome.
Well,
So
I'll second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
You know,
Thank
I just want to interject. I mean, this is a longer range.
Tony,
range
can I
issue
ask
that we
one?
have. I was just
Hold
going
on,
to say,
the
this is a longer range issue that,
Advertised path.
History of the chairman was speaking.
Sorry.
I was just saying, this is a longer range issue that we're going to have to spend some time working on with,
Yeah.
with the supervisors and Tony. And it's not, again, it's not just highway, it's other departments as well, so.
Yeah, I think you're right, Matt. This is going to be a chronic problem.
Yep.
Supervisor Holtling, did you want to speak now? Sorry.
No, I was just wondering what the, what the emergency plan was, but it sounds like that'll be another meeting. Look forward to the conversation.
Matt, do you know offhand if in the union negotiation, we're talking about single driver, no wingman?
Or I do not believe so.
Is that something we ought to put on the table? I understand the problem of making guys work more than a standard shift, and we don't want to do that, but I think having the flexibility to have one person in a truck makes some sense. Even if we don't do that because we have enough staff, but it sounds to me like we're not going to have enough staff, and we may have to do that, but limit the shifts so that we don't drive our plow truck drivers too hard during the snowstorms.
I can say, Art, even last year, the last several years, we've had trucks go out with just a driver. And generally what we do in that situation is they plow with their front plow only. And then either the following day or later on that evening, however, we'll mix up the crews, and a truck with a full crew will come and push those back. It's not a huge issue in the smaller storms. It becomes a bigger issue, obviously, in the bigger storms where you're getting heavier snowfall rates. 'Cause it's hard to keep up.
Okay, well, it's good to know that you can send one guy out in the truck. The union lets you do that on certain circumstances?
They understand that sometimes it needs to be done because, if the guy's not there, they're not there, It would be one thing, I think, if we were sending a guy out by himself in a plow truck, and another union member was sitting home not getting overtime. I think that would probably be an issue with the union. But at this point, the union understands that sometimes, it just has to be done. The safety of the public kind of comes.
Okay, that sounds good. Better to send one guy in a plow truck than nobody in a plow truck.
Yeah, no, we don't. I mean, we have not yet to, knock on wood, gotten to the point where, roads are sitting and trucks aren't getting to them. We usually do what we got to do to get the roads plowed. Our seasonal help, that helps as well. We did get our 6 positions this year. I interviewed 2 today. I got 1 tomorrow and another one that we're bringing back from next year. So that's 4 so far. And that helps. And I do think, and I know we've talked about it before, kind of maybe going back to a non-CDL starting position, like a laborer. Some of the other counties have they've put together what they call MEO trainer or MEO trainee positions. You're hired as an MEO trainee at a lower rate. You have a certain period of time to get your CDL. So that might be another way to get some. At least then you're not competing with the bigger trucking companies everybody's short on drivers right now. Highway departments, trucking companies. So you're competing with all of them. So that's
I think that's a good idea. Just we'd have to come up with a way of locking them in after we get
Right.
give them their licenses. But you don't have to worry. In a couple more years, the trucks will be driving themselves. So don't
That's
worry.
right. It's a scary thought, but you're right. You're trying.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much, Tony.
You're welcome.
Kelly, what's next? I can't see it.
Recess.
CSS, Bob Gibson.
Thank you. First request is for authorization to fill one senior transportation aid position, grade 11B, base salary 42,390, and any backfills created therefrom due to a retirement or resignation.
Move it.
Second, Hoatling.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Okay, next request is to fill 4 caseworker positions, grade 15, base salary 55,293, and any backfills created therefrom.
Move it,
Okay.
Hoatling.
Bob, are you having any trouble attracting applicants?
We are, Supervisor, and we'll just have to see how this goes. Get the positions available first. We have been able to hire. There's a couple of issues we're having, some with lists, some positions we haven't been able to necessarily fill, but we're working through it.
Okay, thank you. I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 And I just want to add, we are looking at some of the grades for current positions. We plan on working with the union. So, we may, between that and if we can dispense with the step system, it may help.
I think the step system, Matt's going to dramatically help. It's tough. You take a position that's on a lower end, and then when you start, you don't even get that.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, we certainly believe that will help, particularly in many of our positions.
Okay.
The third.
Bob?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I said, go ahead, Bob. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. So the third request is to fill 4 social welfare examiner positions, grade 12A, base salary 45,158, and any backfills created therefrom.
Motion?
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And finally, the last request is to fill 2 senior caseworker positions, grade 16B, base salary 60,826, and any backfills created therefrom.
I'll
Move
move
it,
it.
Hoatling.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Bob, just a question. The senior caseworkers, were they retirements?
So one was a retirement back in last April, and one was a resignation to move on to the state.
Okay.
I think the other thing we got to really let people know when they're coming out, new employees, is that we have a hell of a health insurance and retirement plans. That stuff people got to know, because even out besides us, I mean, regular businesses are not given what we're given as far as health benefit goes. Let me tell you. So that's a big positive for some people.
Yep.
Next is
And Bob,
Sheriff.
do you know,
Sherman. Sorry.
Bob, do you know on the 4 caseworker positions, it looks like they're all resignations. Were they going to a better job? Do we know
Well,
why 4 resigned?
So one was a retirement, and 3 were resignations, and they were moving on to other positions.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay. Anything else, Bob?
That's all I had. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Sheriff.
Sheriff
Good afternoon.
Bartlett.
Good afternoon, everyone. My first personnel resolution request form is a request to authorize and fill a vacant budgeted full-time deputy sheriff position.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
Second personnel resolution request form is to fill a vacant and budgeted full-time position for correctional officer.
Move it, Hoatling.
Second, Basson.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Sheriff,
Sheriff.
before you go, I've just got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Are you having any trouble attracting candidates?
Yeah, we have for a while. I don't want to jinx myself because the last group, right now, we don't really have any COs because we're waiting on the list. But the deputies, the last group that I sent down to Dutchess County, worked out real well. Time will tell. I know that civil service ran another test and we're waiting on the results of that now. And so I'm an optimist, Mr. Bass, and I'm an optimist. So hopefully we'll work out well.
Well, optimism is a force multiplier, you know, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, we were having problems for a while. But again, this last one, I got some really good recruits, and I just actually saw them at the range the other day and actually saw them at Sheriff Anderson's funeral. They were part of the detail for that down there, and they looked squared away. They looked like they were doing well, and from what I'm understanding, they're doing well in the academy.
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Next is solid waste.
thanks, Sheriff.
Hi, all. Our first and only resolution request today is to authorization to fill one full-time labor position, starting a salary of $34,311. That's with the less 15%. This position is vacant due to a 1-year medical leave of absence that we have expiring.
Okay,
I'll move it. Basson.
I'll second it.
all
Thank
in
you.
favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Human services.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. What you have in front of you is a resolution to backfill 3 vacant budgeted positions. The Department of Human Services, and particularly the clinic, has a total, including these 3, 6 clinical vacancies. So we're just asking for your approval to keep the accounting straight away.
I'll move it.
Motion, Jim Guzzi, second.
Second, Basson.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
Opposed?
you.
Carried. Thanks, Dan. Do you have anything else?
Well,
Next
I,
is a
on a positive, I just wanted to let the audience know that we do have 2 people being vetted and onboarded, and then we have an interview that looks really promising set up for Monday. So we are making progress in terms of filling these vacancies, which to keep the optimism alive. I'm very optimistic about it and hopeful that we can be fully staffed again soon. Thank you.
That's great.
Appreciate it.
treasurer.
You're muted.
It's about my 12th Zoom meeting today. I think I'm muted in more ways than one. Sorry about that. Resolution request to restore budgeted bookkeeper position that was frozen in last year's budget. Right now, we've had other individuals within the office assuming those duties. One of those individuals is our reimbursement specialist that's trying to oversee our mental health billing and isn't able to devote enough time to that due to the other duties she's assumed. Even with restoring this position, we're still saving about $160,000 a year by releasing beacon billing and consolidating the services.
I'll move that.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next is MIS, appointing the chief technology officer. Chairman, do you want to handle that one?
Sure. Well, I'm going to ask Michael to handle that.
Okay.
Certainly. So the There was a search committee that was assigned for the chief technologies position. We received 28 applicants for this position. We were very excited at the level of interest. So it was whittled down based on 11 applicants geographically, and then going through and reviewing all of their requirements. We got it down to 4 applicants that were then interviewed, and the committee unanimously took a look at promoting an internal applicant to be able to take this position. It was unanimous, thinking that Christopher Sweet would be the absolute best choice for this really important county position. So certainly, and so this resolution is doing exactly that. It's asking and requesting permission to appoint Christopher Sweet as the Chief Technology Officer for Columbia County.
Who fills Christopher Sweet's position? Do you know, Michael? Do we have anybody?
So we would then do a separate resolution in order to do backfills for that.
Oh, okay. I'll make a motion for this.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried.
And just let me say something about this. I am extremely impressed that we had somebody in the organization who, in the judgment of the committee, was capable of taking on this responsibility. I think that speaks tremendously well of Rich Giuliani's leadership and the strength of that organization. And hopefully we'll find somebody to replace Chris who will be equally prepared in the event that Chris moves on at some point in the next 10 or 15 years. But this is very impressive.
Well, and Rich's Giuliano is going to stay on till the end of November. So there will be a transition that will go on. It's not going to be where somebody vacates a position and then we bring somebody in. There will be a handoff. So, and I was involved in the second interview with Chris Sweet, and I will say that I was very impressed with the second interview.
That's good.
He had a knowledge, and he's someone that has the knowledge in all aspects of MIS because he's dealt in all aspects, including our phone systems, which is, as you know, our phone systems now are internet based. So he pretty much installed those systems for the county.
Well, this is going to I think it's going to make the organization stronger and is going to make the morale of that group very, very strong, which is going to be good for all of us. Well done.
Thank you. Is that it, Kelly?
That's it.
Anything else? We have Health and Human Services at 4:00. I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion, Jim Guzzi, second. Supervisor Hoatling, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thanks all.
Take
Is OFA, Kevin?
He's muted.
Now you need to unmute, Kevin.
Am I going to echo or are we okay?
You're good right
Go
now.
ahead.
I have no resolutions this month. I did put together a list of some of the services that we provided during the month of September. Like I said, there's just numbers there. If anyone has any questions. One thing that's not on there is, actually there's 2 things on there that's not on there. We also distributed well over 500 farmers market coupons, and we did start a caregiver support group If you recall, a couple of months ago, I came before the board and was given permission to contract with an agency. I'm pleased to report that we have 5 caregivers of seniors who are enrolled in the program. Program consists of 6 90-minute sessions, and it's evidence-based. It's an evidence-based program. And Michelle Cram, my deputy, has learned from a couple of the folks that it's being very well received, and it's being very helpful to some of the caregivers. So it's a good program that we've got going, and we're hoping to be able to contract with them again in the future.
Any questions for Kevin?
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, Bob Gibson at DSS, just a quick question.
Sure, go ahead.
Wondering about the status of the personal care assistant program that you've.
I'm glad you asked that. We have hired 2 folks. They will be starting this Monday. They're going to be going out with our case management supervisor, and we're going to get some cases opened, and we're going to be able to start providing services starting Monday. Again, we have 2 more that we're hoping to hire, and we're in that process now of getting some people lined up for interviews.
That's great. And can we make referrals, Kevin?
Pardon me?
There's a couple of folks that I, in particular, wanted to make a referral for, but can we do that generally here from DSS, or do you have to exhaust your wait list first?
We're going to try to exhaust our wait list first. It's like some of these folks have been waiting a very long time, and like I said, I'm not even sure that we're going to get to all of them, but we're certainly going to try.
Okay, thank you.
Kevin, Kevin, you're going to have to mute him for some reason. You're echoing. I don't know why. Thank you. These individuals that are on a wait list, what positions are we lacking that is creating this, or why would they be on a wait list that long?
No aides. Okay,
It's
the
all
agencies,
aides.
yeah, the agencies that we contract with are unable to provide aides for.
Okay, thank you. Brenda?
So I wanted to understand, Kevin, if they're starting on Monday and they're going out with staff, and is their training basically field training? And are they located regionally, or will this be, just a little bit more about, are we going to take the oldest first or the greatest need first, or are we going to try, because we were originally hoping to do this somewhat regionally.
We're not going to be able to do it regionally, at least not at present, based on the two women that we've hired. We're not going to be able to do it regionally. However, we are trying to reach the outlying areas. Okay, we have contracted with another company. I believe I was brought that to the board a couple of months ago. And they're in the process of doing having their lawyers look at a contract. And we're hoping to be able to reach at least some of our clients down in the Copake Gallatin area with this agency. And where?
And hours.
Okay.
We're serving
So
people.
is there any way to tell us from the wait list where these individuals, not by name, but how many are located in what parts of the county? I'm just trying to understand if we have anyone that will be serving the Austerlitz, Canaan, New Lebanon, East Chatham area.
Yes, we will. As a matter of fact, we have a person up in New Lebanon that's going to be, we're hoping to get to them either next week or the week after to get them open. And see what we've got up there. The problem is trying to route the aides on certain days so that they can get as many cases in a given territory at once. And I'll be honest with you, it's becoming a very difficult task to try to come up with a schedule, but we've got 2 folks working on it, and like I said, and I know the gentleman from up in New Lebanon is ecstatic about being able to get somebody up there. So we're looking forward to getting up there. I think we have 5 clients up in that area that you just spoke of. So hopefully, once we get them all on a schedule, we should be able to service them.
Thank you.
Sarah?
Yeah, a question about the legal services. Be great to have that on this list too, like how many have been served or helped with legal services when you're making your list.
Kevin, I know you have that. It's not on here. So
She's out, our lawyer is out of the area right now, so we have to wait till she is supposed to be back next week, and we'll be able to get hours and clients from her at that point. We'll have something for the November meeting.
Great, thanks so much.
thank you, Kevin. Any other
Chairman
questions?
Ligonia, can I
Yes.
just ask who is on line 70, ending in 70 on the phone? That just joined us?
I do not know.
It's me, guys. I lost power. We had a big accident out here, so. we
Okay,
had no
Pat,
power.
thanks. I just wanted to verify who was on. Thank you.
Thank you, Patsy.
I'm really sorry. I didn't want you to see that.
Any other questions for Kevin? Thank you, Kevin. Mr. Mab?
Okay. Okay, so this is an annual resolution that we bring before the board. These are the contracts that we renew every year. Rather than do them piecemeal, we give the authority to the chairman to renew the contracts. The attachment A lists them, all the contracts that we expect to renew in the coming year.
Any questions on any specific ones?
I'll move it, Buren.
Second?
Adams?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
So before COVID, we were very active in providing a place for student nurses to get practical experience on the job. Very aggressive about it, I think, as compared to a lot of health departments. And the attached list are the universities and colleges that we've worked with in the past that we want to renew those agreements with. Hopefully someday we'll get back to some level of normalcy and be able to continue that work.
Move it, Buren.
Second?
Mushman.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
These are various state funding sources that we get funding every year from. And again, same thing, rather than doing piecemeal, we ask for the authority for the chairman to move forward and to renew the contracts.
Any questions on any one of these specifically? Not, I'll take a motion.
I'll move it, Mushman.
Mussman, second.
Adams?
Adams, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
So early intervention has located a provider to help provide services for eligible children. This is a real tough thing. Finding providers is real tough. This is the rate is set by the state health department, and we want to enter into a contract with the Anderson Center for Autism for services.
I'll move it, Buren.
Second.
Patsy, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Jack, is this one of the ones that we've had a long wait list for?
Not really. Autism is not something that we have a long wait list for.
Okay.
But locating, the services, it's been tough to find it.
Okay, thank you.
So this is an award from the State Health Department for immunization, vaccine response contract. They had originally sent down a $68,000 over a 2-year period. And then they just gave us another $108,000 on top of it. There's a lot of money out there. And so this is to accept the whole thing. We have to reconfigure our budget. It's through, I believe, 2004 that we can spend this money. So it doesn't add up to a ton of money on a year-to-year basis. And we have some ideas about how we want to spend it, but it has to be to support vaccine response. The only condition that they put on it is that we have to show an effort and how specifically how we're going to try to improve minority vaccination rates. That's the only condition that they put on it.
Ron?
Yeah, Jack, I know through Tim, I just signed off on that like an hour ago. These are all going to be budgeted in this year's budget, 2021. But is the 176, is that all 0.1 or is it 0.4? Or is there a combination of what type of expense we're going to have?
It's going to be a combination. It's going to be if we need to send if we need a desk, if we need a phone, if we need to send a car out with somebody to go do outreach, we're going to have to put that in the budget. Originally, when it was $68,000, it just went to support our usual immunization efforts. But the extra $108,000 gives us an opportunity to do outreach, and so we're going to. It's going to be a combination. It's going to be the majority is going to be 0.1.
All right, so if I split this 50-50 between 1s and 4s, you're okay with that?
Yeah, well, if we do that, it'll probably be a budget mod somewhere in the future. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine for the time being.
All right, and I think I just put it to, we already have a COVID-19 in your cost center call, it's 4188 COVID-19. So I'm just going to put it to that. And then the other question is, I know this is funded from the state, but it's very important for us when we do the CFA single audit. Is this funding really coming from the feds flowing through to the state?
That I don't know. I don't know if, and that could be the case. I'll find that out for you.
Yeah, we need to find out because it's got to go to a federal revenue account, not a state revenue. That's very important for when we do the single audit.
I'll go back to the original awards letter and pull that up, and I'll let you know tomorrow.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you, Ron. Second.
Adams.
Adams, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Right, so in 2020, we weren't able to provide a lot of services under our migrant grant. We didn't do any outreach because of COVID. A lot of our migrant population, like the rest of us, were kind of delaying on some of the medical care and things like that. So our caseworker wasn't as busy. So we've got permission from the state to roll over funding from 2020 to 2021. So that's what this resolution is about.
So moved.
Adams, second.
Sterling.
Sterling, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
So there's the monthly report for the director's report. If there's any questions, I can answer them. I would point out that what's in the report is that if you go back on COVID positive cases, it's kind of interesting to look at. We had 23 in the month of June, 67 in July. August took a big spike to 272, and September went to 468 cases, positive cases. So it's the same as the testing. 38 in June, 52 in July, 299 in August. It dropped back a little bit in September to 275, but that's testing that we do right here at the department. So it's been pretty active, pretty busy.
Any questions for Jack? Thank you, Jack.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Almasi?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. So overtime budget. You will see that we started out with a budget of $12,000. We've used a fraction of that, little over $1,600, leaving us with an ending balance of $10,351.91. Brings us to the first resolution, which is a batch resolution for all of the contracts that we put into the 2022 budget. So we ask for your support in approving these contracts.
I'll make the motion, Mussman.
Second,
Sterling, second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So carried.
Let's see, this next resolution has to do with backfilling 3 budgeted vacant behavioral health social worker vacancies. These came upon us in rapid succession. 2 were due to resignations, 1 unfortunately due to a termination of a probationary employee. So we just want to keep the accounting tight on this and make sure that anytime we have a vacancy, we ask for the permission to backfill, especially in this case since they were budgeted. Just as an FYI to everybody, in the clinic specifically, including these 3, there's a total of 6 clinical vacancies. However, I am very happy to announce that we're in the process of onboarding 2 behavioral health social workers. We do have start dates for those individuals, and we have an interview coming up on Monday that's looking very promising. So keep your fingers crossed, send me your well wishes, because we need to move in the direction of properly staffing ourselves, and it's looking somewhat positive.
I'll move the resolution and send good wishes your way.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Same, Sterling.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
So on our prescriber side of things, we did receive a resignation from one of our prescribers that is a part-time employee of the county, 14 hours. So I am wanting to contract with as many recruiters as I possibly can to cast a broad net with these recruiters to identify a replacement psychiatrist. So this outfit is known as Corzen, and they not only recruit for psychiatrists, but also nurse practitioners, social workers, as well as, licensed clinical social workers, as well as licensed master's level social workers. So these would be individuals that would be boots on the ground, working here at the clinic.
Sarah?
Yeah, a question about this, like, do we pay once we hire them, and what happens if they don't work out? Do we have any protection?
Right. With a recruiter like this, there's 2 tracks that you can go. One is the contractual route where you would pay an hourly rate to that psychiatrist, nurse practitioner, and in this case, social worker. Or and there's an add-on in that higher hourly rate. Excuse me. That's how the recruiter makes their money. Or you pay a finder's fee, and that's what's listed here. So the finder's fee for a psychiatrist, it's startling, is $20,000, $16,000 for a nurse practitioner. What does that say? $10,000 for an LCSW, and then the lowest amount is $8,000 for a licensed master's level social worker.
May I ask Sarah's question in a different way?
Sure.
So the employee has a probation period if they're part-time, yes or no? And if at the end of the probation period they don't work, do we still pay the full fee?
Yes, you pay the full fee. It's a finder's fee.
Okay.
If we go the route of bringing the person on board as an employee that the recruiter has identified,
Okay.
we pay a finder's fee. If we go the route of just maintaining them as a contracted entity, the hourly rate that we pay has some additional padding built in, per se, so that the recruiter can make their money as well. Does that make sense? I
It
can't
does. So you're saying that we're opting for the finder's fee as opposed to the hourly rate that includes an add-on?
In this case, with this particular recruiter, yes.
It seems that, given we're in desperate times here and you're so down in staff, even some of this, we be saving money in the long run because we're not paying employees when we don't have any. If that makes sense.
I think I follow you, Supervisor Sterling. The you know, this resolution for a recruiter, and there are others in the lineup today, but I
Right.
just want to, this is allowing me the option. I have feelers out to fellow directors of community services that may have relationships and know of psychiatrists and nurse practitioners that are seeking employment. So this just allows me the flexibility. We're not necessarily going to be identifying our next psychiatrist through a recruiter. We may, but at
Right.
this point, we're just looking for the flexibility and the permission to contract with, in this case, Corson, so that should they have a candidate that works for us and is appropriate, we can move forward in an expeditious manner. Because the last day of employment for the 14-hour-a-week psychiatrist is November 16th. And we're scrambling to, find solutions for those cases that she's been treating. And we're going to be absorbing those cases among the remaining prescribers, both the psychiatrists and nurse practitioners that we have here at the Department of Human Services. But that's not sustainable as a long-term solution. So I just want as many options as possible at my disposal to identify somebody.
Tistria?
Thanks, Rob. I realize I'm not on this committee, and so I just had a question. I think this is great right now for the time being, but could we talk more? I know it's been mentioned before about sign-on bonuses, right? Because if I was a psychiatrist, if you gave me a $15,000 sign-on bonus as opposed to paying this company $20,000 to find me, that would recruit myself to you, right? So I think this is a good stopgap measure, but I'm wondering moving forward if we, and this isn't just this home committee, we as a county board of supervisors and department heads could seriously consider maybe less than this amount, but some sort of attraction for people to find their way to us as opposed to paying that to someone else. Just an idea.
So I'll move the motion if there's no other discussion, or the resolution.
Second?
Second, Sterling.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
So this next resolution, similar. This is a recruiter that we have not had any previous relationship with, so we want to enter into a contractual relationship. And in fact, this recruiter has told me that they have a nurse practitioner that they feel would be a good fit for us. Now, I don't want to make this more confusing than it has to be, but as I just mentioned, we received the retirement notice retirement notice from our 14-hour-a-week psychiatrist. I have also been told by one of our full-time county employed nurse practitioners that she will be retiring come the new year. So I'm trying to be as proactive as I can. She has told me as of today that she's agreeable to giving me as much advance notice in the form of a retirement letter as she can, which will allow me to be as proactive as I can. So, this particular recruiter says they have a nurse practitioner that has been seeking employment in our area, which is quite unique. So I'd like to be able to contract with this recruiter as well.
Any questions on this? Motion?
Sterling.
Second?
I'll second it, Mussman.
Mussman, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Okay, so this resolution has to do with our lead medical consultant. I'm presenting this resolution. The position is budgeted for in the 2022 budget. So this will be continuing the contract with Dr. Carlos Valle, our lead medical consultant.
This is the one we discussed earlier, Dan, that with
Yes.
the increase in wages?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
Which is in our 2022 budget. We presented that. We presented the increase.
And if I recall, at the last meeting, we had, there was some inquiry into the increase and you were going to speak with him. I'm assuming you did, and I'm assuming this is still where we're at.
This is where we're at.
Okay. Are there any
I'll make the
questions?
motion.
Second,
Adams?
Adams, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So carried.
Thank you. Okay, this is, I believe, this is another recruiter who we historically have contracted with, but that contract is quite old, so it was felt that it was indicated and appropriate to create another resolution to refresh the contract.
I'll make the motion, Mushman.
Second,
Second.
Sterling, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? So carried.
Okay, and so I'm not sure if the order of operations on this is correct. I went ahead and am submitting this resolution to you. I have discussed this with UPSEU in that this is my request to contract with Innovatel. That name may sound familiar because I had previously sought their help with regard to bringing on board licensed clinical social workers. That's been put on permanent pause. UPSU had some concerns about that. However, what I'd like to do, again, just to have a resource, to have an option, I'd like to be able to contract with Innovatel, which is a remote behavioral health provider. So they provide video and telephone sessions from a remote location. So they would not be here at our clinic. And UPSCU says they are agreeable to an MOU. So I wasn't sure if the MOU needed to happen first or if I needed to bring a resolution in order to have the MOU. But I do have UPSCU's support to contract with Innovatel specifically for prescriber hours.
I'm not sure of the procedural. I think Matt, would you know? I think it's fine to do it in this order, but I'm not 100% sure.
Chairman Ligonia, I think it has to be passed by Labor Council and County Council as well. So we could do it subject to their approval.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
I'm fine with that. That we'll approve this subject to the approval of the county attorney's office and who else did you say?
Labor Council.
Labor Council.
Sterling, second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So carried. Thank you, Supervisor Berry.
Is that it, Dan? That's all you had, right? Okay.
Are there any other questions for Dan? Thank you, Dan.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Just flipping through. I believe that's it. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Bob?
Hi, thank you. So I have several requests, resolution requests. The first request is to fill one senior transportation aide position, grade 11B, base salary $42,390, and any backfills created therefrom.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Sterling.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
The second request is to fill 4 caseworker positions, grade 15, base salary $55,293, and any backfills created therefrom.
Can I ask a question? I'm assuming that well, it's not a question, I'm assuming. The question is, has this already been approved through the budgeting process for positions?
Yeah, every request today for employment to onboard, these are all budgeted positions.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
I'll
You're right.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
The next request is to fill 4 social welfare examiner positions, grade 12A, base salary 45,158, and any backfills created therefrom.
Move it, You're right.
Second.
Sterling, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Okay, I think this is the last employment request. Request to fill 2 senior casework positions, grade 16B, salary 60,826, and any backfills created therefrom.
I'll move it.
Second.
Sterling.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So Bob, are these retires or why are so many people being hired? I'm just curious.
Well, good question. So it's a combination of resignation and retire. And some of these have been on hold for a while and now are free to be filled. So some date back a while, some are a little more recent. There's a few retirements, but by and large, it's resignation and people moving on to other positions outside the county.
Any other questions, Supervisor Mussman?
So if you could have kept some of these people, how could that have happened? I mean, are they being taken out because they're getting a better job offer? I'm just kind of curious. Why?
Yeah, I mean, to be frank, I think the lion's share are workers that can find a better place to make a little bit more money. It's not uncommon for caseworkers to leave here and go to the state and make some more money. So by and large, that's it. There's a couple who, these were good folks. It wasn't a great fit. They came to us and said, we really, we enjoyed our time here and we really wanted to make it work, but it's not a fit. And that happens. And they go on off and do something else. But yeah, not unlike other departments and other sectors of the workforce, I'm dealing with some attrition based on the realities of what the positions can pay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Bob.
Okay, so moving along, because not unlike my fellow department heads, it's also contract time for my agency as well, and so a list of contracts has been put forward for consideration. These are, all contracts that went into the budgeting process for 2022.
I'll make that motion.
I have a question.
Sarah?
First, I just read a horror story in the New Yorker, and I know Paris Hilton has just come out with this, these homes where parents are giving up their rights to their children and just sending them off, basically kidnapped to these horrible institutions. And I think this is going to put a big spotlight on all of these foster care, whatever, coming up here, because it's a real horror story. So I don't know how well we can check the places we're sending children to.
Well, I find that to be interesting. I'm certainly going to read that article. And I can very briefly describe for this board that there is a legal process by which children are taken into care, watched while they are in care with frequency. And these are with permanency reports before the family court judge that have to happen every 6 months. And we have to make diligent efforts to reunite families. And if not, then there's a process whereby kids must be freed for adoption. At no point is it up to anyone else other than the family court, what will happen to these children. And if they are freed for adoption, then I must consent to that adoption. And I only do so to homes that have been found by foster care agencies where we contract with for them to find, and the court appointed attorneys for the children also consent to that. So I don't know by what system these other things are working, but I would suggest they are counter to the law.
Thanks. I'll try to. It's called Lost Youth in the
Yeah, I would
New Yorker.
absolutely like
This
to read that. Absolutely. And if it's in the most recent New Yorker, then I'll go get the most recent New Yorker and I will read that.
Let me get to the date on it. Yeah, I mean, this is a slightly different situation, but I think it's sometimes we talked about sending children for temporary foster care out of state.
Well, what
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we certainly
have.
do that. That is not something that I prefer to do, but sometimes the most expert places to send certain things. I think I told this committee at one point I had to send a boy close to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, just to receive the services that he needs. But he's still in my charge and under the supervision of our family court in Columbia County, and permanency must be addressed, and that child must be brought back here each and every time unless the child, through his attorney, wants to waive that. So again, yeah, to hear a story like that would be most concerning for me, and I can't see how it would be otherwise, but contrary to the law.
This is the October 18th issue, and Paris Hilton came out with something today, pretty similar.
No, I'm glad to hear that, and I'm certainly going to read it. And I would be interested to see where things like that would take place.
Okay,
We have a
Second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, so carried.
Okay, the next request is to enter into a memorandum of understanding between my office and the County Highway Department for the provision of after hours and weekends emergency delivery of fuel. This is an age-old relationship that we have. Sometimes emergencies come up after hours and over the weekends, and we need to get fuel to people who need it. And our county department has always been agreeable to take that out there and then to send the bill to me.
I'll move it. Adams.
Second,
Sterling.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, so carried.
Okay, the next request would be to enter into an agreement with the Columbia Green Humane Society for the provision of work site for eligible public assistance recipients. We've done this in the past with several of our sister agencies and some nonprofits. What they agree to do is take the client on and allow them to do volunteer work. It satisfies the state's restriction for job searching, but it also can benefit them by A, providing different skills that they may not have had, and B, making an employer interested in that person after the volunteer stretch goes. So the Humane Society is just one of the agencies that I'm interested in doing that with.
Kelly, that resolution's not up. This is the previous one. Okay, there you go. Thank you.
I'll move it. Morel.
Second,
Mussman, second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, so carried.
Okay, this last one that I'll read is, so there's been some changes in the
Hold
law.
on, Bob, there's one missing.
Okay.
That's why I didn't move. Sure.
That's the highway department one.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find the one he's gonna bring up right now, because it's not in this packet. Bear with me 1 second.
Brenda, you're on mute if you're trying to.
Sarah, is that the full name of the New Yorker article? I'm in their index and I can't find it.
It's called Lost Youth by Rachel Aviv, A-V-I-V.
Thank you.
So while we have a minute here, unfortunately, I was not able to attend a lot of this meeting because I was on the phone. We've had 2 or 3 positive cases down at 325. So I've been talking with our facilities department, our human resources department heads as they got off of this meeting. We're going to close 325 for tomorrow only so that facilities can do a thorough cleaning. It's been our protocol right on through this process, unfortunately. And I've talked to the relevant department heads and they're all aware of it. It'll go out in a press release and we'll also send the release to all of the supervisors, just so everybody's aware. But the building will be closed tomorrow and closed to the public, obviously. Some of our workers will be, like our mental health workers can still do visits from home through telemedicine. The only department that'll still be working in the building is the health department because they have to.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, I got a call right before the meeting, so sorry about that.
So Bob, this resolution is on your agenda, but it's missing from the packet that Lori sent over.
Oh, it is. Well, my
Yeah.
apologies.
So
I
it's resolution number, it's actually number 8 because the numbers are misnumbered here, but Bob's reading this one here, the request for the chairman of the board to enter an agreement with various agencies for provision of Q1 assessments. There's no resolution for that.
Okay. I thought that there was a resolution sent down, so I apologize for that. So this is mandatory under a change in the Family Court Act and the Social Services Law. Family First Prevention Services Act is requiring that anytime a youth that is going to be taken into care is done so either at the behest of the family court judge or at the request of my department or any other department within the county, then a separate assessment has to be made by an individual qualified to make it, who's not involved in the case, that's either going to say, yes, that recommendation to take the child into care is indicated, or that recommendation not to take the child into care is indicated. And that's now required by law. So we had to find a qualified individual to make those assessments, and we have. And that's what this contract would be about. But if I have not sent the resolution down, then I'm not sure what to do at this point. I could certainly put it back on next month's agenda.
No, I don't think that's, I think we can move the resolution. You can get it to
Right.
Kelly tomorrow.
Yeah, just send it down.
So
Okay, very well.
I will move the resolution.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried.
Very well. Other than that, as usual, the statistics are in, and any other questions such as that have already been brought up, I'm happy to answer now or at any time.
Are there any other questions for Bob? Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
I do know Jessica's on Youth Services. Does anybody have any questions for Jessica? She has no formal agenda. There wasn't anything, so just wanted everybody to know that she's attending. If
I
not,
did send an email to everyone this afternoon with updated information as to Youth Bureau activities.
Thank you. Any questions? If not, I'll entertain a, are there any questions first? Are there any public comments? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Sterling, motion.
Second,
Second.
Second, Morel.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, so carried. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.